Hello everyone, how are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman. This is going to be a very good video. I hope you watch it, especially for those of you who travel. I know you want to jump into that aircraft and go from point A to point B and not have to think about the 6 million possible components that are carrying you to point B. You don't want to think about if the heat treatment was properly done on one of those components, that if it fails, depending on where it is, you may have a crash. You don't want to think about an engine catching on fire. Once Boeing puts these things together, whether it's a GE Salephour engine or a Pratt & Whitney engine on the aircraft, whatever, or Rolls-Royce, once they put these engines on the aircraft, the whole responsibility goes to Boeing. Boeing owns it all, okay? So if GE happen to make a defective engine, Boeing will be blamed for it. GE will catch wind later on down the line, but regardless of that fact. And the other item we have to contend with is the lack of A&P mechanics. Those are the mechanics that check out those engines, those ailerons, the wheels, the everything, to ensure that they are ready for takeoff and they are at 100% readiness. Let's go. Let's read this. And I do this because I give a flying fuck. And by the way, I can say fuck because of this guy. Up there, you see Patrick Shanahan? That's him, Patrick Shanahan. During the time he was Deputy Secretary of Defense under Donald Trump, he was asked about, in 2017, he was asked about what he thought about the F-35 program, and he said the program is fucked up. So a federal employee set federal regulation now by his voice. Fucked up. Let's continue. By the way, you can look that up. Look up Patrick Shanahan. F-35 fucked up, and you'll find that article. I don't bullshit about that. This is a good topic, too. Boeing's regulatory role led to pilot unawareness of dangerous MCAS system. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow citizens, my fellow business associates, the tragic crashes of Boeing 737 MAX aircraft 2018-19 resulted in the loss of 346 lives. Have revealed serious issues in the aviation industry. One major problem was the design of the Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System, MCAS, a software intended to help stabilize the aircraft. This system could activate based on faulty data from a single sensor, causing the plane's nose to tilt down unexpectedly, shocking many of the pilots who were not informed about the existence or operation of MCAS, leaving them unprepared to handle such situations. Boeing's role as regulator. The Federal Aviation Administration allowed Boeing to self-certify its own aircraft technologies like the MCAS system, and own aircraft designs. And they did that through the Organization Designation Authorization Program. Let me read that to you again. The Organization Designation Authorization, ODA program. This meant that Boeing employees acted as FAA representatives, inspecting and approving their own company's planes. However, since these inspectors were paid by Boeing, there was a potential conflict of interest that could affect the fairness of safety evaluations. Impact on pilot training safety. Because Boeing had the authority to certify its own aircraft, it did not initially include information about the MCAS system in the 737 MAX flight manuals. This lack of information left pilots unaware of the system's existence and how to respond if malfunction. As a result, during critical moments, pilots were unprepared to counteract the intended actions of the MCAS, leading to catastrophic outcomes. FAA contradicting statements. After these tragic incidents, the FAA officials publicly stated that the agency does not allow companies to police themselves or self-certify their own aircraft. That was for 10 years prior, okay? They were allowing Boeing to do the self-certification. All of a sudden, those disasters happen. Then they tried to reel in the horse out of the barn door. You know what I'm talking about? However, this contradicts, again, the long-standing practice of delegating significant certification responsibilities to the manufacturers like Boeing under programs such as the ODA. This inconsistency highlights the need for clearer policies and stricter oversight to ensure that safety is not compromised by conflicts of interest. Conclusion. The combination of flawed aircraft design, inadequate pilot communication, and self-certification has exposed serious weaknesses in our aviation safety system. To protect passengers and restore trust, it is essential to clearly separate the roles of the regulators and manufacturers, like the FAA and, of course, Boeing. They sit on the same boards, the American National Standards Institute and the American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board are the accreditation body that Boeing uses to shove up the asses, and that's a technical term, shove up the asses, of their suppliers. And that's what it is. In 2002, April and July, they came out with 2 supplier notifications that they took down from their website, most recently in January of 2025, because I exposed it in April 17, 2024, when I stood up at the subcommittee hearing, DHS subcommittee. The only problem is, too, is the DHS also sits on Boeing's accreditation body. They just don't sit. They're a customer that pays for a fee, services that ANSI and ANAB are going to get them. Also, Mr. Phil Mattson at the time was getting paid $262,000 plus his federal salary, okay, $262,000 plus his federal salary as a representative of the DHS on ANSI. So how do you like them apples? So the combination of flawed aircraft design, inadequate pilot communication, and self-certification has exposed serious weaknesses in the aviation industry's safety system. To protect passengers and restore trust, it's essential to clearly separate the roles of regulators and manufacturers. Independent oversight is crucial to ensure that safety remains top priority in aviation. We must take strong action to fix our regulatory system and prevent future tragedies. And the tragedy is that when you have the manufacturer sitting by the regulator, meaning like the FAA, CDC, NIH, whether it's medical or aerospace, you have serious problems that I've been talking about for years now. And I'm telling you, if it's a Boeing, don't get going unless you hear about Daryl Guberman being there, spearheading their quality program. Because I think the new guy that they put in there is nothing new. Doug Ackerman, I think, has been there for almost 30 years. Okay, so he still has the same. Where was he when all this issue was happening with quality? I think he was supplier auditing, if I'm correct on that. Where was he? He's sitting down in his office. He didn't have to go out to a supplier because in 2002, April and July, they came out with notifications saying, just send in your certificate, send in your parts. If the need arises or need be, that means when a plane crashes, the door pops off, like the Alaska Air door, that's when they'll come out because that's when the need arises or need be, okay? That is absolutely deplorable. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you, 203-556-1493. I look forward to you getting back to me. Here it goes again. Sometimes a person will write me and say, you said that too fast, Daryl, your number. Here it goes again, 203-556-1493. And if you want to see the picture of me holding up those 2 pieces of paper, like holding up the 10 Commandments, like Moses. Well, what do you want? I'm a Jewish guy anyway. What are you going to do? It's just natural to hold up those 2 pieces of paper. Those aren't the 10 Commandments. Those are the 10 Commandments of death. Giving up on-site auditing to 2 pieces of paper. Unbelievable. And I'm a shareholder. So, again, 203-556-1493. Text me. We've got a lot of information we can send you. And if you're going on a Boeing this summer for vacation, change your flight, get on an Airbus. You hear many airlines who are changing their contracts, switching them from Boeing to Airbus. It could be me. Maybe it's me. I sent out about probably 15 letters or so to different airlines warning them. The same warning I'm giving you today is the same warning I'm giving those CEOs at those airline industries. Why do I do that? Because I want to see Boeing get back in shape. I have to. I'm a shareholder, but I'm more importantly, know what needs to be done to get that company back on track. It's not just laying off people. That to me is disgusting. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.